Hello, hello, and welcome back to Alchemical Serenity, the pagan podcast that takes you on a journey through the woods, across the fields and moors, down to the beach, where we can sit around a campfire and talk about all things pagan, druidry, and witchy in a way that works for you, your path, your journey in this experience of being human. My name is Carolyn, and I have been treading this path for over 40 years, and I love sharing my experiences that might help you whilst you're trying to navigate your path. If you're already a subscriber, thanks for being here, but if you're new to the channel, welcome. Grab a seat, stick your AirPods in, headphones on, grab a cup of your favourite brew, sit back and listen in as I tell you all about today's herb, which is Chervil. So if right now you're thinking, what? I haven't heard of using this Chervil in magical workings. No, I haven't lost the plot. Let's give this one a try and we're going to see where this takes us. So as always, let's start with a bit of history and folklore. Now, historically, it is thought that the Romans may have brought Chervil into France and then into England and from their own travels across Europe. As it's believed to originally come from the Caucasus region, which is roughly speaking to the east of the Black Sea. If you are interested, you'd be able to look it up on Google Earth. Its Latin name is Anthriscus cerefolium. Now, I have read that apparently cerefolium means delightful or joyful leaves. Okay, I agree, folium means leaf, but cera doesn't seem to mean joyful or delight, and I can't find a meaning for Sarah. So I'm not going to quote what has been plagiarized across the internet because I did go looking for it and I kept finding the same words on somebody else's site, on somebody else's site, and on somebody else's site. It's just, this is how RSS feeds work, unfortunately. However, if you are a competent Latin scholar and perhaps you learnt Latin in school and you can understand that, drop me a note below. If you think whatever you think cerefolium means, then let me know. But don't go copying it from any sort of site, where you find it on the internet. Say, oh, well, I found it on so-so site, and they seem to know what they're talking about, because half the time they don't. They've just copied it from somebody else. And AI is making it even worse. Now, before we go any further, if you hear any weird noises in the background, it is my husky. She is in here today with me whilst I'm recording, and she has decided that she wants to get her collar off, and she will scratch at that collar, won't you? Yes. She's looking at me to say, what are you talking about, me? Anyway, any clacking noises, any shaking noises, any scratching noises are said husky. So, going back to the Romans called the plant myrrhis. The reason why they called it was because it was very close to myrrh, which for obviously Christians was one of the gifts given to the Christ child by the Magi. Therefore, it was believed to be a symbol of new life. Now, in the Middle Ages, the leaves were used for rheumatism, bruising, swelling, and indigestion. In Germany, on what is known as Gründonnerstag or Green Thursday, Chervil is made into a soup, which would probably, for us or for anybody of a Christian faith, will know that the day is actually Maundy Thursday, the day before Good Friday, and that's when it was eaten. And this Latin name of Myrrhis odorata, as it is known, it also means sweet Sicily. It could mean French parsley, anise, anise chervil because of because of its taste, British myrrh, and sweet fern. So as far as eating chervil is concerned, it's best eaten fresh. It has a mild flavour that tastes a little bit of anise, sort of licoricey, anisey flavour. And it's also known as French parsley, and it has been used in French cuisine extensively. Now, firstly in a béarnaise sauce, which you may have heard of, but also as part of the herbes fines. Now, herbes fines are 3 herbs of parsley, chervil and tarragon, which should never be overcooked, because if they are, they lose their flavour, which is why we tend to use those 3. Tarragon's not so bad, but parsley and chervil perhaps more likely, or perhaps as a dressing. Now, Chervil does make excellent vinegars and butters to eat or cook with, and especially to eat it with fish, veal and chicken. If you're looking at, sort of the white meat type foods. Sorry, vegans, I apologise. But also for you with carrots and other vegetables. So if, you're not being left out. If you like to cook or perhaps put something as a glaze on your carrots, you can use Chervil as part of a buttery glaze. Now, in the 18th century, a broth was made from pounding the leaves, collecting up the juice and adding that right at the end of a broth to give it some extra flavour. And obviously you could make a fabulous pesto with it. And Frankfurt cream sauce in Germany also uses Chervil. Growing it yourself, if you want to grow Chervil in your garden or pots, then be aware that it's a biennial plant and it grows its leaves in the first year and then it flowers into the second year, which is fine because obviously you want the leaves, but if you wanted to use the flowers for something, then you're going to have to wait until the year after. It prefers a shady area and to be kept moist, but when the flowers bloom in the second year, ensure you remove them or it will bolt. And it will bolt very quickly and go to seed, and then that's your growing season over for that plant. Whether it comes back the following year, it should do. It's biennial, but it's then going to take for the rest of the year to whether it comes back or not. Now, it can be grown on a bright windowsill over winter because it be cooler on a windowsill than being outside where it's too hot for it. So you could pop it on a windowsill and use it in your kitchen and use it over winter for cooking, which would be really nice. Medicinally, Chervil was considered to be a warm herb, which means on a cold winter day it will warm you up, which is why both Pliny and Culpeper believe that Chervil would warm up cold and old stomachs. John Parker, who is also a British botanist and herbalist, also believed that the green seeds could be added to a herb salad to comfort cold stomachs of the aged. John Gerard wrote that the roots should be boiled and served to the elderly who were dull and without courage, so that it would comfort the heart and increase their lust and strength. Also, during the Middle Ages, it was believed that it could treat eye inflammation, it would smooth wrinkles and combat the plague and treat blood clots, and was used as a diuretic blood purifier and also to lower blood pressure, and teas were made from it for gout. The Romans used it to treat eye infections. It was full of A and C vitamins, magnesium and iron, and Chervil tea can apparently relieve headaches, boost the metabolism and the formation of new blood cells. So if you wanted to make an infusion, you would use a handful of leaves in alcohol and allow it to stand for a few days, then strain out the Chervil parts. If you allow it to stand for longer time, it will actually give it an intense green colour and a more anise, I'd have thought, flavour. Then you can use this to relieve cold symptoms and stimulate the appetite. Now, it appears to be a very good tonic, not only for the elderly back in the Middle Ages, but also as a great tonic for now. And the Greeks made a spring tonic to cure any digestive problems. Spiritually, it was believed to be a witch's herb and a fountain of youth. I'll have some of that then. The plant energy helps to bring about a sense of happiness and joy. It has a positive effect on the mind and body, and it will lift the spirits and bring happiness, which is probably the same thing that was taken from the botanists and the herbalists that I've just spoken about for the elderly, but everybody else can use it. It's been used, obviously, since the Middle Ages for protection against those that wish to do harm verbally. Now, at one time in northern Africa, fires were lit on midsummer, 21st of June-ish. The seeds, along with thyme, rue, chamomile, geranium and pennyroyal, and an Indian herb called asafoetida, which is essentially a gum resin from the celery family and has quite a pungent smell of sulphur or boiled eggs, and was often called devil's dung. And it was made into an aromatic incense to burn. Now, I can't answer for our friends around the globe, but I do remember those horrible little glass vials. Some of the boys in my class in school would sneak in and they'd bring them into class, and when no one was looking, they would smash one on the floor under their feet, and the whole room would smell of eggy farts. It was absolutely awful. Does anybody else remember those? I mean, if you don't want to put your hands up, actually in the comments below, that's fine. But if you're sitting there now going, yep, I remember those, especially if you're in the UK and you were in school in about the 1980s, then you'll probably remember them. But I'm not going to name the guilty, because they won't be listening to this anyway. But some of my school friends I know listen to this and they'll be going, "Yep, I remember who that was." And I'm not sure why they would have used devil's dung, but however, going back to the incense, the people would then use this to smoke and clear their own energy fields and their children, their homes, the land, and themselves. So my mind has now gone off on a tangent thinking that people bless themselves with eggy fart smelling smoke. Sorry. Really? I mean, did they? Oh, I'm hoping that other herbs in the mixture actually covered it up, but they don't seem to be very strong smelling herbs that they're using. Yeah. Maybe it was only like a teeny weeny bit of asafoetida that was used. I'm kind of fixating on this now. Think I'm not going to try it, so please don't any of you put a comment underneath saying go on, try it, let us know the outcome. I'm not going to bother. I'm going to put that one to one side and go, okay, yeah, we believe you. Let's move on. Chervil was used as incense, but also it can bring about a connection to your higher self. So if you are looking to connect to the divine, to your god, goddess, or just to your higher self, your higher consciousness, this could be a great place to start. It can also help you in making contact with the deceased and loved ones. It's said to be ruled by both Jupiter and Mars, and it has a masculine and feminine energy. But I think you'll find which energy works better with your system the more you connect and work with it. And it works with both water and air elements. Obviously water because it needs it to grow, funnily enough. But the air elements would be because people would use it as part of an incense. It symbolises sincerity, sharpens the wit, bestows youth and makes one's merry. Oh, that would be very good, wouldn't it? Other symbols are joy, peace, wisdom, spiritual growth, and money spells. So if you do any form of ritual work for joy and peace, for wisdom, for bringing in spiritual growth of whatever kind, or money growth, or anything into your life, then give that one a try, see if it makes any difference. Energetically, working with Chervil, if you wish to cook or make incense, then go ahead, because that's one part of energetically working with the energy of the plant. But sitting with or near the plant itself is going to be the best way of learning what it has to teach you. Now, each of us is different, so your experience with Chervil's energy will be different to mine and everybody else's. You might find you feel absolutely nothing. That's fine. It just means that Chervil doesn't need to work with you right now. And I say need, not want. No plant really rejects the connection with humans. What it tends to do is say, I don't need to work with you at the moment because you either need to go and work over here with that plant, or you need to do something else with your own energy system. Come back and we'll try again. So if you find that whether it's Chervil or whether it's any plant at all, that you are not getting a connection and you just feel emptiness, then put that one to one side and think, okay, I'll write that in my journal. Tried to work with this plant today, didn't happen, and try again in a week, in a month. In between that time, you might have done something with your energy system. You might have worked with another plant. Don't ever look at it and think, well, I felt nothing with that one. It's got nothing to teach me. It probably has, but you're not particularly ready for that plant's energy at the time. So don't force any of this. This has got to be something that comes naturally between you and the plant. Don't forget to journal about your personal findings with the plant. You could also draw it in your journal, which is always really nice. If you're writing about it, draw about it, or maybe ask the plant if you can take a little piece and dry it and pop it into your journal as well, which would be even better. So just before we go, my advice on Chervil, if you're going to look into grow it or forage it, is firstly buy your seeds from a professional seed merchant and go for organic if you can. Then at least you know what you're getting and you're starting from scratch. Chervil is from the umbel family and it has some poisonous members. So if you are out foraging, please ensure you can either identify it correctly from its cousins or take along someone with you. Perhaps you can get some advice from a seasonal forager, because you really don't want to be bringing back hemlock. Also, don't forget it's a blood thinner, and obviously, as I've said, it was used in the past for that purpose, so don't take it or give it to a person already on blood thinning medication, or anyone who is pregnant. Always seek advice from a trained clinical herbalist when using herbs for more than just a garnish. So I hope you enjoyed our little walk through the herb garden today with Chervil, and let me know in the comments below if you already use it for more than perhaps just garnish or for cooking with. I have worked with it, but only for cooking. It would be quite nice to pop back in a few months, or I always like to check the comments anyway, and see how anybody's getting on with it. If you used it over the summer period, if you're growing it for yourself. It's lovely to read the different paths that everyone who listens to this podcast is taking. So when you leave comments, I really enjoy it, and obviously I will reply to everybody as soon as I can. So if you are using Chervil, then let me know what for. Thank you again to my Patreons for all your support in the channel. That was absolutely marvellous. Those cups of coffee do keep me going, believe me. And until our next time we get together and we walk through our little herb garden, I will see you again soon. Much love and light, and have a wonderful few days until the next one. Take care now. Bye bye.